Previously on TA's Star Trek Journey.
As a lifelong Star Wars fan, Star Trek has just always avoided me. It's something I've always wanted to dive into, so I feel like we should do it.
Oh yeah, look at these sets. All right, here we go. I'm bought in.
Routine medical.
2K. We did it. You guys did it. Thank you so much. Star Trek did it. What's old is new, and this whole community has been absolutely wonderful.
Wow.
That was my favorite episode, I think.
Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human.
We should watch the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation, which many people have told us it's not as good as the later seasons, which means we're gonna love it. What?
Crewman, what is going on?
Welcome, Picard. The shuttlecraft sinks.
What? Oh!
Mr. Worf, fire.
What? No way! I'm done. I quit.
The deal is done. I don't know who the new owner of the channel is.
The contract says that the new owner is Josh's best friend. Josh's best friend, Nick.
Episode 25 out of 26, the penultimate episode of the season. We're almost there.
I can't believe it's over. Well, almost over. Hopefully these last two end on a good note. The past few season finales, I think 3 through 4, past 2 have been pretty good compared to the past. So I'm going to be optimistic. I mean, we're not the season finale yet, but we're at the equivalent of City on the Edge of Forever.
Yep. Well, let's see if we have a City on the Edge of Forever.
Magnify. Increase speed to...
Captain,
Uh-oh.
Whoa!
Captain, I've got you.
How are you feeling? Cayman? Can you answer me?
Cayman.
Computer freeze program.
Thinks he's in the holodeck.
Picard to Enterprise.
Cayman, please don't get up yet. You're still not well.
What is this place?
This is your home.
I live here. I can't find where I sleep, so I sleep here.
Star Trek loves those V-necks. Those sleeveless V-necks.
Yeah, and he's even got the chest hair coming out. Like those shoes.
I like the fit.
Am I prisoner here?
Please, dear, you've had a high fever for 3 days. You mustn't push yourself too quickly.
I would love an episode where they try to, convince him that he's in a mental institution. It's like, you're not the captain of a starship, And, he learns that he lost his mind years ago. But it's, obviously fake.
Damn. I think that's a new one.
What did it say, Peter Lorreston?
Yeah.
I've seen his name pop up before. The producer, maybe.
Cayman, you're back on your feet. How do you feel, my friend?
You in charge here.
That guy's in Office Space.
My name is Kamen.
Yes.
You are?
A tie. Helene should have put you in the hospital, but she insisted on caring for you herself.
Helene.
Your wife. Take you back home.
No, really, I'm quite all right. Just answer me. What planet?
Catan.
Catan.
This guy's thinking, what the hell are you talking about?
Exercise will do me good. I'll try to reacquaint myself with the surroundings.
And what's weird is that ship or whatever it was sent him here, so it was purposely done, you would think.
Yeah, I just wonder if anything's happening on the Enterprise, or is he just in a coma?
I love all this architecture.
Thank goodness.
Kind of gives me vibes of that planet from Ensigns of Command back in season 3, where Data goes down to that planet.
Season 3, episode 2, with the terrible voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
You think that this Your life is a dream?
This is not my life.
He's being ruthless to her. He's not letting her off the hook like he did the guy.
Yeah, he hasn't been warm to her like at all.
Are there any other planets in this star system? Do you visit other systems?
Don't you want to ask about us?
And what do I do here in Russia?
You're the best iron weaver in the community. At least I think so.
I think this is a Freaky Friday type situation where the real Cayman is in Picard's body.
I don't know.
When did I learn to play this?
I'm afraid you never did, dear. You do keep trying.
It's more like a recorder. Like you play in school.
Oh yeah, I remember. The only thing I was been ever able to play.
Oh, that was the shape of that ship.
Oh.
Cayman, this is the first gift you ever gave me.
Record of sick.
Oh, here we go.
The captain's hurt.
Bit beyond belief there. His eyes are moving like rapid eye movement, like he's in a dream state.
Yep.
Did he create that whole reality?
We should destroy the probe. Phasers are armed and ready.
The probe is moving with us, sir, holding relative position.
It's connected itself to him. You've been dreaming about that starship of yours again, haven't you?
Hair looks a bit longer.
Yeah.
I give a clue to the cause of this drought.
And it's seemingly the next day here.
I think you're still trying to figure out where that ship of yours is. How to get back to that life.
Unless time works different here, and it's been a little bit.
The memory is 5 years old now.
What?
But never in all the stories you've told me have you mentioned anyone who loved you as I do.
He told her all about the first 5 seasons.
And you can't expect me to forget a lifetime spent there.
Cayman! Aileen!
I look the same.
You come along?
No, thank you. You do very well on your own.
Oh, she's pissed.
These past few years have been very difficult for her.
And for you, I think.
Basically, I blipped 5 years in this reality.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this isn't even Star Trek time anymore. This is like the classics. This is like the Odyssey type timing.
But building atmospheric condensers would be a monumental undertaking.
Each community will be responsible for its own.
Well, I'll be glad to pass along your idea.
I think he was impressed with you.
There'll be no atmospheric condensers.
You were speaking as though you were truly a member of the community. It was good to hear that again.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, because in about 20 minutes, I'm going to pull that rug out.
Oh, the same song that he was playing for the kids in Disaster.
Oh.
You've been brooding behind that flute all evening.
Oh man, he got those bare feet. Get the dogs out.
How about those steps to nowhere?
Yeah, interesting architecture.
I'd like to ask your permission to build something.
What is it?
Nursery.
Oh, no.
So you think we're gonna go back to the Enterprise and then jump back and he has a kid because of another time jump?
That, or he's going to be fully bought in on this. Kid's going to be born, and right as this kid's born, or he's bonded with it, oh, we figured it out. You're back. And it's going to be one of those,
Oh, and then he remembers all this?
Yeah.
I mean, how can they... I'm just trying to think, like, how can they bring him back and he remembers all this? Like, that would so severely alter his character, I feel like, to go through all this.
I don't know, man.
I'm not willing to let this thing keep drilling into him.
If somebody gets stabbed, you don't necessarily pull the knife out right away.
We must act.
I'm inclined to agree. Mr. Data, prepare to disrupt the beam.
Come on, dude. She's right.
Come on, you know how Riker is.
Yeah, I know. No, he's 100% Riker right now, for sure.
It's true to his character. I'll give him that.
Oh, there we go. It's a daughter. Picardette.
Thank God we got past those first 4 or 5 years.
No crying baby.
No crying baby.
Oh, just as you thought, you were safe. He already has a second.
Oh, show. Why did you do this to me?
Hopefully, it won't cry.
We named this child for a dear friend who died a year ago.
Batai.
Oh, that guy died.
Oh, man.
I always believed that I didn't need children to complete my life. Now I couldn't imagine life without them.
Cayman, what is it?
His respiratory.
Oh, because they disrupted the damn beam.
Makes me question, if he dies in this fake reality, does he die in this reality?
Data, get that beam back.
Yeah, you think?
The beam is fully restored, Doctor.
Isocortical functions are stabilizing. Vital signs are approaching normal.
Good job, Beverly.
But you feel stupid, Riker.
And Worf. Don't let him off the hook.
Oh, God.
Hey.
Oh, they're starting to use the makeup.
A good scientist doesn't function by conjecture.
A good scientist functions by hypothesizing and then proving or disproving that hypothesis. Father, I think I should marry Danik sooner rather than later. Don't you?
Because she wants him to be alive, probably.
Make now always the most precious time. Now will never come again.
I love you, Father.
How about your son? He's probably like at least 10 or 15 or something.
I don't like my son.
Any way to extrapolate an origin?
Looks like a star system in the Solarian sector. Catan.
Never heard of it.
So it's a real planet.
The star went nova. All life in this system was destroyed approximately 1,000 years ago.
Oh. So this thing's probably carrying the data of this planet?
Yeah.
You know, I've been looking through this thing on and off for over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
Jesus.
He loves playing.
Oh, it's his son.
What if it's Patrick Stewart?
Last week, all he wanted to do was be a botanist. The week before that, a sculptor. Wish he could find some focus in his life.
Oh, he hates him.
Uh-huh.
I'm leaving school.
Leaving school? No, you're not.
I want to concentrate on my music.
We'll discuss it.
Thank you, Father.
Cayman, what do you hope to accomplish?
Is that the same guy? Oh, this guy's still in charge?
Anything. You simply cannot let this civilization die.
Enough. There is a plan in work. I can't tell you more than that.
Father.
It's like a fucking loop.
Is that what you think it is?
Yeah.
But what would be the goal of it? Like, what's the goal of this thing? That's up in space.
I don't know, but this whole thing is leading to them sending out to the thing that got him originally.
Yeah, I think so. But
that's crazy.
I'm trying to think of like what the plan is, though.
But Ty, leave us alone for a moment. Remember, put your shoes away.
That's sad. I'd be pissed if I was her son.
Oh, that he wasn't there for that?
Yeah, she's like, go away for a minute, and then she's just dead.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Maribel. Is that her name?
I think so.
You shouldn't be outside so long. It's damaging.
Grandson.
You young man, do you wear your skin protector outdoors? You do?
Skin protector.
Breaks my heart. He deserves a rich, full life, and he's not going to get one.
Yeah, that star just must be ready to pop.
Did everyone know about this except me? What is it they're launching?
You know about it, Father.
What are you talking about? I haven't seen any missile.
Yes, you have, old friend. Don't you remember?
What?
You saw it just before you came here. We hoped our probe would encounter someone in the future. Someone who could tell the others about us.
Oh, it's me. That's what this launching is. A probe that finds me in the future.
The rest of us have been gone 1,000 years. Now we live in you. Tell them of us, my darling.
Please, Captain, don't get up too quickly.
Oh my God.
He's lived an entire life. Like, what's going?
I was say if he remembers all of that in real time.
How long? 20, 25 minutes.
Apparently, whatever had locked on to you must have been self-terminating. It isn't functioning any longer.
What?
We found this inside.
Just needed to pass the message that they were a people. Because they knew they couldn't save themselves.
No, it's going to be the flute. Wow. It's like, see you next time.
Yeah, next time on Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Yeah, have fun unpacking that. We'll see you next episode. All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hey! I think the past three have been, tit for tat.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you were going S for sure, just based on your visual reactions.
I was close.
So I'll be excited to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I said on camera at some point. Don't know if it was in a YouTube video or in a live stream. Someone out there, if you want to try to find it, please do. But before starting TNG, I was only aware of one specific episode. And I didn't say which one it was, but I knew that it was later in the show. And I knew that it was called The Inner Light. And all I knew about it is that Picard played a flute type instrument. So literally all I knew. And that it was like, a big deal. So going into this one, seeing that title come up, and after seeing the hook, that's all I knew. But I knew, like, okay, this is the one. I knew it was coming eventually. And so part of that, of course, anytime something like that happens or you have expectations of any kind, you try to not let it color anything. So I tried my best. I was surprised. We talked briefly after watching it. You said you actually hadn't heard about this episode at all.
No, I've heard nothing about this. I've only heard clips reused multiple times in RLM videos talking about our scientists came to those same conclusions 2 years ago. I've heard that said multiple times. When I heard it, it felt like, Pavlov's dog. Like, oh, I know what that is. It's like,
so you're just like completely out of context.
Yeah, it's like, besides that, I knew nothing about this episode. And I got to say, 10 minutes in, I was a little worried. We're going to a little like imaginary friends type deal here. And not in terms of anything that happened in that episode, but in terms of that, oh no, am I going to like this? But then it completely 180'd in the exact opposite direction, and I thought it was great. In fact, great. I love when I have that moment watching an episode where you put it together and it's like, that's what's happening. That's one of my favorite moments watching anything.
Yeah, I agree that the beginning, it was definitely a bit of a slow burn. I think that me being aware of like, okay, this episode is for whatever reason a big deal, that didn't bother me at all in terms of I was already bought in because of that, I guess, or I was like I'm always willing to give any episode a chance, but
Yeah.
I had a little bit longer of a rope because I had this expectation of this episode is about to be something.
But you knew nothing about what that something was.
No, I had no idea what the story was,
Okay.
or literally all I knew is that a flute was involved.
Okay, that's
so
very
when she
that's very bare basic. Yeah.
yeah, when she brings it out, I was like, oh, okay, like what does this mean for the story? And obviously the reason it's so famous is that by the end of the episode, I mean that's the whole thing of the episode, you know, him playing that at the end. And the reason I even bring this up, besides transparency, because you know, regardless of what some people think, we every time we know something beforehand, we typically bring it up and say it. We are 90% of the time fully unaware, but it does happen where we have some type of awareness and we like to bring that up and make it known. But besides that, I also bring it up because, you know, we both gave this episode an A, and you and I both know that's a really great grade, and we both really loved this episode. But I know that there's a bunch of people out there, and this is kind of the downside of introducing grading or giving any type of score to an episode, is that as soon as it's not that highest grade, there's going to be people, you know, pissed off. So of course part of me doesn't care, but just to address it, the episode is really good. I just want to address like why we didn't give it an S up front, and then we can kind of dive into the particulars of the episode, I guess. So like for me, this isn't one I'm going to have like complaints about or rewrites or anything that bugged me. There were really no like big problems with this episode. It just, for me, again, it's kind of similar to how I felt about some other ones recently where, you know, we're 5 seasons in, and just for me personally, on this first watch, this isn't Iborg. This isn't Remember Me. This isn't Redemption 2. There are just certain episodes that, for whatever reason, for different reasons, reached that level for me, and this was kind of in the same bucket of a Date is Day or a Cause and Effect, where it's like, I appreciate everything about this episode, and we're going to jump into it, but this didn't blow me away.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of another Darmok for me. We're very important. I understand it. I get it. It's tragic. It just didn't hit that next level for me. And this is right on the heels of Viborg, isn't it?
Just a couple episodes ago, yeah.
Yeah, so very similar to Redemption 2. I mean, I'm not saying that's any detriment because of a great episode previous that affected my viewing of this one. This one just didn't reach that next level for me. But there's really no faults in it that I can think of. No unnecessary B-plot. Quick, concise, shocking, tragic. If anything, it just loses a half a point for if those credits popped up while I was playing the flute. It's like, you were right there. I thought it was going to happen. I was worried it was going to end on, you know, him smiling and going to the turbo lift. I'm like, oh, that's how it ends. And you have that another long shot of the Enterprise. I'm like, don't show the title. Don't show the title. And it showed him back in that room. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, you still hear the music though, as it cuts away from him and it cuts to the Enterprise shot as the credit comes up. You still hear the music of the flute, and I really loved that. And I could be wrong. It's my first time watching, but I think when he's playing the flute earlier, he's playing the French Jacques song, and then at the end he's playing what his son was playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's really nice. And again, we're gonna jump into the particulars, but I just feel like with this type of episode, it's like important up front to kind of talk a little bit more big picture because, like, I know this is a big deal and the episode is a big deal, I mean, and like thematically it's very deep. Like thematically it tackles a lot, and for a TV episode that's very, very hard to do, I thought this did it very well. I thought like as a singular, just like on its own episode of this TV show, it just like did everything very well. And I think it just came down to, for me, like just more personal preference, which is really weird because I don't know. I like to think like I'm pretty open and I'm pretty like, yeah, whatever this show wants to throw at me, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And like, not that I wasn't open to this, I really enjoyed it, but like just for some reason I'm trying to figure out like why didn't it hit me, and I think like maybe it's just because like of what the episode is. Like I really can't think of any other reason. Does that make sense? Like I'm trying to figure out myself here.
I'm figuring out right there with
Yeah.
you. I mean, this episode was heavy. I mean, it's weird to think this is like on the surface, like, oh, what an adventure. We'll see you next week. And then we have this horrible story of Picard living this entire life of someone else having a wife, kids, grandkids, and knowing they all die. And then just coming back to reality, and he's only been there for 25 minutes when he's lived an entire life, and these people that he grew to love all died. And it's like, this is fucking heavy shit. But like, I get all that. It just didn't reach that next level.
Yeah, it's just like,
I can't explain it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like,
and you even got a little bit emotional, I think, if I saw you correctly.
Yeah, because all that was like the facts were there. Like, I'm aware of this. You know, it's like, it's like food. Like, yes, this is great. It's just not my favorite food. Like, this is a good meal. This is a great meal.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
It's just not my favorite food. This isn't my. I love ribs, but they're not chicken wings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love chicken wings, but ribs are like, oh, ribs are great, but it's like this isn't. It's not my favorite.
But what's really interesting about it is this one in particular, I feel like does have a lot of what we usually like talk about that we really love, but for some reason, I don't know. It's like it was just like the recipe was just like, almost like I love pizza, but maybe this pizza had a topping on it that's not my favorite topping, but I don't know what that topping is.
And,
Like,
and the topping's not even bad.
yeah, like it's a fine topping, but it's just like
I can't explain
it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that we had to go through 30 plus years in 40 minutes, or if it's the fact that I don't know if I can buy the idea that Picard is now has now lived an extra 30 plus years of his life, and I'm supposed to, like, in my head canon, maybe like the perfect way for me to think of it isn't that he like lived this whole extra time or whatever. Maybe he remembers it, but as like a vivid dream, because when he's talking to his wife there on the planet, he talks about his life on the Enterprise as if it's a dream, but he says it's just as real as this is. But to his wife, it seems like a dream, and to him, over time, as he starts to accept this new life, it becomes more like a dream to him. Maybe that's in reverse now.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. I think it seems like it flipped, where you're almost like, he's like, it is real, and he's not even being recognized, being called captain. He's like, captain, where he's like, he's fully bought in on this new life now, and it's like now he's the exact opposite of when he arrived.
Yeah, and that's what is, I guess, is interesting to me, because it's like we're gonna jump into the season finale, and it's like it's Picard.
Oh yeah, next week. I mean, Star Trek's been pretty good with continuity, but I know it's not going to be like, not in every episode or in any episode since Starmok, he's going to be looking at that knife. I know he's not going to be looking at that flute, but we know it's there.
Or maybe he is. Maybe it'll be on his desk. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope
we're
it's
about
on
to
his
watch
desk.
it soon. But
yeah, yeah, that's what I loved about it. But I wish we saw him like put the flute maybe next to the knife or something. That would have been like a cute little thing. But him playing it's good too.
Yeah.
But
this is a really long time, I guess, to just talk about why I didn't love it more, but I'm not trying to.
It's just a feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just personal preference. What is the personal preference? I don't know, but it's just a feeling. I mean, the episode was great. I mean, I don't know, tiny faults. I mean, Riker being his typical, Captain Riker self.
That is Riker.
Yeah.
It's true to the character, and I thought Dr. Crusher was great in her one little moment.
Everyone else is on the sidelines.
It's a Picard episode.
Yeah,
if there ever was a Picard episode.
You know why I was nervous at the front? Because that outfit was very, very similar to Captain's Holiday outfit, Vash outfit type deal. Maybe it was just like an unconscious thought where I was thinking like, what is this? Seeing Picard like this brings back bad memories. What is that bad man? I put it together. Oh yeah, Captain's Holiday.
Yeah, I think that that was definitely part of it. Is it's such a different episode, and I don't want to be hypocritical, because like so many times I'm like, oh, I appreciate whenever an episode's different, does something different, which this does 100%. But it's like almost so different for that first act, the first like 10-15 minutes. It's almost like a different show almost, or you really have to like buy into this scenario.
Okay, I would compare it to also a pre-season finale. My shirt, coincidentally enough, City on the Edge of Forever, where like Kirk has a love interest. Like, oh, of course, Kirk has a love interest. But then the episode just stays with that for so long to where you start to buy it. It's like, oh, he's fully bought in here. In the back of your mind, it's like the show's going to go on after this. I know this for a fact. I mean, us with the hindsight, knowing that there's 2 seasons left. Same thing with TOS. We know that there's 2 seasons left of that. How about that? And it's like, we know, but it's like also similar to Worf, almost dying. It's like they just ride that falsy for as long as they can. And I'm like, oh wow, they're really going with this the entire way.
You know what? I think it is such a perfect comparison, because we actually brought it up before. Was it in the hook? Or it was before starting the episode.
Before starting, pre-season.
Yeah, we brought this up, and then this is also a pre-season finale, penultimate episode, and it's also a very, very different episode than usually what's in the show. And I do have a lot of the same feelings where City on the Edge Forever, was not my favorite episode of TOS. I loved it. You also loved it. You loved it a bit more than me, but that was also like a completely different type of episode that is very, very highly praised and a lot of people think is the best episode of that series. I think a lot of people think this one is, and I don't. I just think, I mean, it's in the top 10, 10-15% of the episodes for sure, and it has really, really great performances from Patrick Stewart. First and foremost, got to give it up to him. You know, an actor is amazing when his makeup didn't bother me at all. Like the first shot of it, I was like, "Oh, we're using makeup now," but then it might as well have evaporated the rest of the episode.
His makeup was good. The councilman's makeup was pretty bad. He looked like he looked like a bad Hollywood, older actor getting work done.
I don't even think Picard's was like that good. Like it was TV fine.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that he's such a good actor that I just like got past it immediately. Like, he made me believe he was aging. Like he made me believe he was 5 years, 10 years, 30 years older than he was at the start of the episode because that's how great he is. Everyone else around him was fine. I thought his daughter was actually really good. The older version of his daughter who plays the basically older teenager up into adult. I really liked their chemistry on screen. Didn't really feel it with his son.
Yeah, no.
They have one scene about him quitting school for music, which is nice. Didn't really feel it. I think the biggest detriment was probably with his wife. Like, nothing about it was bad. I wish I could have bought into it more on like a Kirk and Joan Collins level, or even, at some moments in this series, Picard and Beverly, even though they haven't gone all the way. But I just thought it was like, I bought it for the premise of the episode, but I wasn't like in love with this couple or anything like that.
Neither was I. And also, like, Kirk was himself in City on the Edge of Forever, right? He wasn't anyone else.
Yeah. They knew what they were doing, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, in the back of my mind, okay, I'm thinking similar to an episode where we see him as Picard, but maybe she sees him as this Kamen guy. Where, like, she sees what Kamen actually looked like, but we see Picard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that brings up...
And the whole, really quick, it's like he's a completely different person as soon as Kamen comes in. Like, the first relationship that she had with this guy is gone. So now it's completely new from the time Picard gets there and goes on. I find that crazy.
But that's what I'm confused about. I guess this, like, opens up... Maybe this is what did it. I don't know if I fully grasped it. Like, and maybe, like, rewatchers will help with that. But, so the reveal at the end, right? Are these ghosts? Like, was this whole thing fake?
The whole thing, remember in Babylon where it's like, people die, but cinema, lives forever. This is the whole thing about this species knew they were fucked. There's nothing they can do. They weren't that advanced, but they can at least send something out into the world that they existed. They just wanted their message, the idea that they were alive and people to move on. That like, hey, we were a people that existed. If one person finds it and has memories of that, that's good enough for us. At least people know we were a people. We existed. We weren't nothing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, so then the stuff with Picard, though, then, when he goes there and he's living this life, are all of these people... is it like a Truman Show? Like, are they all aware of what's going on?
I think so. The whole thing's a work. The whole thing...
So it's like, is his wife lying to him for 30 years? I mean, obviously his but then his children are even aware of it at the end. And those are his children, presumably. Like, he had sex and had the children.
Basically, this Kamen guy actually did live this entire life. So they programmed this thing to have like this latter half of Kamen's life, so whoever came across it would appreciate it instead of just being like, "Oh, what's this probe?" I mean, is it a violation that they just picked this guy and forced him into a time crunch of 30-something years? It's a bit unethical in a way, but also this species just is fucking dead because of this supernova. So it's like, hey, I just want to pass something on to the world that we were here. You know what I mean? It's like we weren't nothing. We tried, but it's like. We just want to, let people know that we were here.
But then, you brought up the time loop element of it. In the original timeline where it is Kamen, he's presumably, he doesn't think he's from the Enterprise. Like, was it not necessarily Picard? I mean, I guess Picard didn't really have anything to do with them shooting it up because at the end they were kind of like, yeah, we already know and we already have a plan. So I guess the fact that it was Picard, it's not like he was there to then help them to do it in like a time loop scenario. It was, they already did this and he's just living the life of this guy.
I thought they were going for a time loop scenario. I'm like, it doesn't make sense because that'd be crazy. Like because I want to know, I don't know how it would end if it was a time loop scenario because it doesn't make any sense that, he's there, he started the thing that, caused him to bring him to this situation. You know what I'm trying to say. But I do like what they did, regardless.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm just gonna say up front, I'm gonna rewatch this one probably more than once before our end of the season recap because I really enjoyed it, but I've just never like felt so almost like perplexed or like it's a thinker, but also I mean it's not like too confusing of a story. It's not that I'm confused. It's just more so like maybe I just need time for it to settle and to see how I truly feel about it. But I'm just kind of like I don't know.
I don't know. I'd call it pretty heavy. Pretty sad. It's like they knew they were screwed. They knew it. They had nothing. But just one message out there.
Yeah, I guess how I would compare this feeling is when you first watch a movie or read a book or something where when you're done, you're just like, huh. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt when this ended. I was like, huh. Like, wow. Like, okay. It's like I haven't settled with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay.
I'd say it's pretty similar to when I finished The Prestige or even Arrival, where I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow. Like, I'm gonna have to think about this.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the only element of it that for me wasn't like all the way is that like when I think about other examples of that, like Prestige, my mind's completely broken the first time I watched that.
Yeah.
The Arrival, I was literally shattered like in tears, which I almost never do watching a movie. And so like this episode didn't do any of that for me necessarily, but just the story itself felt bigger. It felt like it could be a movie. Kind of like House City on the Edge of Forever felt like it could be a movie,
House on the Edge of Forever.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
City on the Edge of Forever felt like it could be a movie.
It's funny because didn't one of our patrons or someone say that they saw Shatner talk at a convention and say talk about City on the Edge, City on the Hill.
City on the Hill.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like it feels like one of those episodes where it's like, no, this wouldn't have actually worked as a Star Trek movie, I don't think, but it feels that way watching it, where it's like almost like this is a big
the heaviness
episode.
of it. Yeah, the heaviness of it. Yeah, and it's hard to believe. Like I'm just picturing we don't watch them anymore, but next week on Star Trek, it's like, let me sit with this for a bit. Hold on, like this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's why we joked at the end, like when it ended, it was like, oh, all right, like. Had fun unpacking that. Like that's how it felt. It was always like we were through an experience that the episode was like, well, we're over, so deal with this on your own.
I'm like imagining kids like watching like their Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, like oh He-Man and all that, and then this comes on, it's just like existential crisis at 12 years old. It's like
yeah,
oh my god.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'll say about the movie feel of it or whatever is. If there was a universe where this was an hour, a two-parter, or an hour and a half, 2 hours long, or a feature film, it would benefit from just having more time. And this is again just kind of like with cause and effect, like it has to fit in 45 minutes, and it's like, damn, like I really had no time to develop any care for his relationship with his son. His wife's was minimal to me. The daughter one was better, but still, it was fine. It's like I'm trying to think of the impact if this had the length of a full movie. It could have been really, really heavy, but it's not a movie; it's a TV show. So I have to take it as what it is, and I really, really enjoyed it. I just don't think I've ever been this like, perplexed as far as I already know I want to revisit and talk about this one again, like on camera at some point in the future. You know what I mean? Like I already know that like this direct after discussion like is not going to do the episode justice. You know what I mean?
Probably not. Yeah.
Because it's just like I'm just reeling from the episode. I'm like, how do I talk about it?
Yeah, it's one of the like. Here's the most shocking news you ever heard. It's like, I get it. Yeah. It's like watching someone die. It's like imagine going to a funeral or watching a terrible tragic event happen. Like let's say you just watched a car wreck. 10 people died. A news crew comes up. Hey, so you want to? It's like, you want to? What happened? You want to talk about it? It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like give me a moment.
Give me a moment here. I just watched 10 people die.
Like I'm blaming ourselves. Like we're the ones that set it up this way. I don't want to talk about it right now. Give me a moment. All right, no shocker. 83% S.
Oh wow.
12% A, and then 2% B, 1% C and D, nothing E. The 1% C and D does, let me know that there are some people that don't care for this. I'll be interested to see if I can find any of those defectors here. Because
83%. That's crazy. Sorry, go on.
Because I would be interested to know, because we did really enjoy it. So like even the little things we talked about, I'd be interested to know someone who just straight up doesn't like this one. That'd be
Yeah.
an interesting take.
I got to read this one from Evan Guthrie in the comment below it. How can we make sure our culture is remembered after we die? I have an idea. It starts with T and it rhymes with trauma. And below that, Ross Townsend says, did Alex write this comment? Fully agreed, though.
Timothy, I can't even imagine how I would deal with waking up one day and being told my entire life never happened, living with that reality and raising a family for decades, only to then wake up in a life I'd nearly forgotten and be told less than half an hour had passed. This episode undoubtedly represents a defining moment in Jean-Luc Picard's life. I would also say this score is Jay Chataway's best work in Trek. Ironically enough about the score, the thing I noticed the most about it was the last scene with Picard in his quarters where there was no score until he plays the flute. And I thought, I'm like, wow, this is the first time that I can remember in TNG where having no score is so effective. Because it's just dead silent, and then he starts playing the flute, and the music from that, cuts through. That was great having no score. But as far as the rest of this episode, I don't remember really any score at all. And like,
it's very quiet.
When he was talking to his wife, you just hear like crickets in the back, literal like cricket noises in the background, which is, I get it for where the location and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember much score from this one, but beyond that.
Neither do I know. Paul Hess says, you realize, of course, that if you don't love this episode, people are going to cut your nuggies off. Hey, listen, we've survived Wrath of Khan, we survived Star Trek 6. Bring it. And by the way, we like this episode, so.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that at this point, 200 and something episodes in, if you're mad at us for really liking and not loving it, okay.
We mentioned the son really not having any chemistry with the dad. The son was played by Daniel Stewart, Patrick Stewart's actual son.
Oh my god.
No relation or no good chemistry with an actual off-screen romance, Vash, and no chemistry with his actual son.
That's great. That is great.
Oh, that's amazing.
This one's from Andy. A lifetime in less than 45 minutes. You're either going to love it or find it jarring because of time skips. Look forward to your take on it. Alex and Josh, S tier for one of the most iconic episodes of Star Trek in the fandom. I do think that there being a little bit of a jarring effect because of the time skips is true. I don't think that overall affected what I think of the episode. I don't think it's like a negative or anything. But definitely, especially that first time when it's like, it's been 5 years, and I'm like, oh, crap. And then when it cuts back and now he has 2 kids. That was kind of like okay, that's what this episode is. So I was able to like adjust to it.
Okay.
Sometimes when there's like one big time skip, then it's like, okay, this is really jarring. But once you realize like that's the episode we're going to get this whole lifetime, it's easier to settle in.
The first one was jarring when he had the longer hair. I'm like, oh. And then once it kept happening and the rug wasn't pulled out from underneath when he had his first kid or finally fell for his wife, I knew like, okay, he's going to make it all the way to the end here. Not that that's a detriment, but it's like, okay, I know he's going to make it till he's old. And then also Chronicles of Narnia. Remember that movie? Reagan says this is the highest rated episode of the entire Star Trek franchise in IMDb for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, it was the one episode before watching the show that I knew of, so that doesn't surprise me.
That's like highest of all of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it does surprise me because of the type of episode it is. It's like I would have guessed the highest rated episode ever would have been,
City.
No, but I'm talking about like the type of thing that Star Trek is, like, best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Like yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah, true.
Like I'm surprised that it's one of these like, different type of thing. But I mean, I guess you're right. Like Sitting on the Edge Forever, it's kind of in that same vein of something different. So it's not too surprising. All right, Paul says you have no idea how long I've been waiting for you guys to reach this episode. I rank it in my top 5 episodes of all of mankind's history. It fluctuates between 3 and 4 on that list, and yes, there are a few upcoming Star Trek episodes even better than this one is somehow. Oh, that's interesting. Inner Light deserves to go down in history. It needs to be thought of, discussed, and appreciated centuries from now. This is in my historical perfection tier. Do you think TV at all will be appreciated centuries from now? I mean, if you listen to Star Trek, no, because they never mention or talk about it. They go from like theatrical Shakespeare plays to the future.
Similar to how things like 200 years ago plus aren't really commonplace, I have a feeling in 200 years none of this is gonna.
You think so? Even with like so much of it, like that's like we can't go find a play from 200 years ago. I mean, there's like the books or whatever, but I mean,
So, I don't know.
the content will still exist in theory, unless there's a Blade Runner 2049 blackout.
It's going to be an asteroid or something. Prof Moth says, Stewart going from waking up confused, knowing he is not supposed to be on the planet. That is not his life. To beginning to accept that, it may be his life, but still not sure. To accepting it sort of is his life, but still he's Captain Picard and teaches his daughter those characteristics. To finally showing that the pure surprise when it is revealed that it was all fake and his emotional reaction to now knowing, again, he is Picard. A thing of beauty in acting. Yeah, the emotional range of... I'm not this person. Okay, I'm this person. Oh, wait, I'm not this person. But I did like how he was teaching his daughter the same things, his same values and everything. And even he was just talking about how he would go explore the planet, which is basically what he does in the Enterprise. He explores space. So, like, hearing all that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that I'm gonna remember about this episode, like, it's Patrick Stewart's acting. Like, he is the star of this episode, and he's amazing. And just, it's funny because I guess, I mean, maybe I can think about it. There are other episodes like this for him, but like Brent Spiner has had Brothers, and stuff. Even Beverly had Remember Me. Worf has had his. Like, this, I feel like, is Picard's episode to, or even more so Patrick Stewart's episode, to show that. So.
Yeah, this is what his one with the lady should have been with Gene from X-Men. It's like they were testing the waters with like a Picard only episode. It's like, this isn't working. We got to try something else, and they brought out this one. Like,
Yeah.
Got it.
Colomini, Star Trek at its finest. An exceptional episode and consistently voted among the top 5 of the series. Anyone who says otherwise is off the rocker. If this one doesn't drive you to tears, you don't have a heart. Doesn't end on the scene, but hearing Picard play the flute while watching the Enterprise fly through space hits even harder. S for so fucking good. Yeah. I mean, top 5 of the series, I'm going to right off the bat say, for me, no. So I guess I'm off my rocker. But no, it's really obviously damn good. I mean, I would even go as to say, so fucking good is fair.
Top 5 of the series for me, probably not. But I don't know, we'll see. Maybe.
We will see eventually, yeah.
I guess this is sort of a detractor from Phil Kent-Sebin. The most overrated episode of the series, which is a bold statement because it's still an A tier.
I kind of feel like right now in this moment, I can see where Phil's coming from. I'm not going to go that far. We haven't even seen the rest of the series. But based on the aura of this episode and what I was aware of this, not even being a Star Trek fan and everything, yeah, it's an A tier. And everyone obviously is just treating it like it's the best thing ever. So I can get where he's coming from. But I'm not ready to say I would agree with that because I think we've seen... I mean, I don't want to reopen it. Never mind.
There's been plenty of other overrated.
There's been plenty of other really overrated, yeah. Here's another defector, Enigmatic Penguin. I'm going to go ahead and nail myself to the cross on this one and call it a C tier. Yes, the silly flute is iconic. As a TNG episode, it never worked for me. There's no real mystery as to what's going on. I wasn't a big fan of any of the guest actors, and the old age makeup is pretty unconvincing. If they started with Picard on the planet in the cold open and we never showed or understood what was going on with the Enterprise crew until he awakens, I think it would work way better. The crew scenes add nothing and would give more screen time to Picard to deepen his connection. If this was a short story or a book, I could totally vibe with it because most of my issues would be filled in my imagination. And one thing I'll agree with there, that the Enterprise crew scenes don't really add anything. I can agree. However, I do think they're needed for this, and also, I would not have liked if it just opened up and he's just there on this planet and we don't know what's going on. Because then I literally would have spent the entire episode going, what the hell is going on? Where we did spend some of the episode doing that. But at least, this is where I think it's good that we saw what happened. Because it doesn't explain what's going on. It just explained how we got there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we need to know how we got in this situation. It would have felt like, if we didn't know anything and at the end he just wakes up, I'd have been like, okay, what is this, fucking Wizard of Oz? I mean, well, even Wizard of Oz, we see what happens at the beginning. So it's kind of like, that would have been off for me. So I don't agree with that at wholesale. But good for you for speaking your defector opinion. I appreciate that.
You're on the Star Trek cross.
John Luck, if neither of you cheered up in this one, are you sure you're not an android? This is one of the best Picard episodes, and even after multiple rewatches, it still makes me emotional. Universal stories about life and death tend to do that. Moving forward with the show, how do you think the writers could alter Picard's character at least a little bit to reflect the fact that he has gained these decades of extra life experience and perhaps their culture rubbed off on him?
Picard's already the most virtuous of the virtuous. It's like putting him through this ringer. It's like it's just just the cherry on top. It's like it just pushes. I mean, he's already up there, man. I mean, if anything, it's gonna make him even more. But how can he get even more? I mean, even after Iborg, after Iborg, this. I mean, and even before those episodes, he was already, pretty up there. So I don't know what else this can do for him. It's like just besides just trauma, and he's already so respected of culture, and the fact that he's the last Catanian, really. He's the one to carry on this legacy and memory. It's like it's got to weigh pretty heavy. But did I answer his question?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything necessarily like on screen or writing wise that like would be a direct thing from this. I think it more so it just adds to Picard, his legend, his aura, his lore, but it's kind of like, again, that's one of more of my honestly hangups with it is that like I don't know how he's still the same character after this. I mean, he's not, but it's like but they're not going to dramatically change his character for the show. So it's like, I don't know. You're just supposed to just like accept that this happened and he has to live with it and then okay, move on. Let's go fight an alien next week or whatever happens when the Kardashians show up. It's it's like it's just very weird to me.
Life goes on, I guess.
Here's a big defector, Jesse Manning. I want to like the Inner Light since it is so universally loved and praised, and we certainly see Patrick Stewart's acting chops on full display. But I just don't care for it at all. I feel like I'm missing something since everyone drools over it, but there are far better episodes of Trek. Hell, there are even better Trek episodes that use the living another life concept. Jay Chataway's Inner Light orchestral suite is phenomenal, though. Okay, I gotta go back and listen to the score. I really didn't pick up on that first time. But Steve, right below him, agrees. These are my thoughts exactly. I changed the channel on this one every time it was on until I started interacting with other Trekkies online and discovered that everyone loved it for some reason. I get what people are saying about Stewart's performance, but I'm just not at all interested in the story. Yeah, I don't agree with that. But this is exactly how I felt about Darmok. So I think this is Jesse. My Darmok is the Inner Light to Jesse. I think everyone just has those episodes that do not speak to them.
That's what's great about Trek. It speaks to everybody in different ways. John M. says, I'm enjoying that your Wrath of Khan / Darmok / Undiscovered Country reviews have given everyone PTSD. We're all like, we love this one. Now to watch your reaction, through our fingers, terrified, like it's a midnight showing of Hereditary. Oh, I see. Through our fingers. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that. I'm reading through these, and like I haven't read a lot of them out loud. We've referenced some of them, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of them in there that are borderline scared, or things that are like, oh, if you don't give this an A, I'm gonna be very, very sad. And it's like, honestly, it's like at this point, it's like stuff like that just makes me want to get rid of the grades entirely because it's like, first of all, we're just two idiots. Who cares? I really appreciate that people do care, but it's like, sometimes I feel like, before we had the grades, unless it was a Captain's Holiday where we just like come on here and absolutely destroy the shit out of it, it's like we could come have this discussion and like we don't have this upfront rating of it on our first watch of it that, people just are then going to discount everything else we say. And so things like that, things like that of like, we both gave this an A and I'm sitting here afraid that as soon as they see we both gave it an A, that they're going to skip to before even watching the reaction, it's going to color the rest of the thing. And like, yeah, of course I try to have the part of my brain where, okay, just shut off. I can't control what other people do. Who cares about that? But it's like, I do feel like part of it really takes away from like the conversation and the nuance of it. And I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we can try something different for season 6. I mean, I still want to tier grade post.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are fun, but.
Yeah, but I love doing the grades and I love doing the reveal. It's fun. But it's like I don't know if it's more harm than good.
I don't know. That's the nature of anything on YouTube or anything. I mean, they're gonna skip to where they want to go to regardless. And I don't know. It's a win-lose, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll just give them all Fs.
Yeah, there's all Fs, which is not even on our tier list, but yeah. Inner Light, F. Yeah, man, I don't know, crazy. I mean, we still got the finale to go, too. Like, this isn't even the last one.
Yeah, that's nuts. After an episode like this, I don't know what this finale can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well. Bravo, boys. This is the thanks I get. This is the welcome I get coming in here. I like what you guys have done with the place. Or what I've done with the place, I should say. You guys have just been here watching your little shows and everything. You think I haven't been doing anything since I bought the channel. I've been trimming the fat off of this sinking ship that we have here, okay? No more intros, no more teasers, no more bits. All that is gone.
You know, Nick, I have to admit, when this all happened, I was pretty skeptical, and I still don't know if I agree with all the changes, but I mean, it has worked out pretty well.
Worked out? Worked out how? This is terrible. There's no bits or anything. Can you imagine if we did a bit for cause and effect, how much traction that would have gotten? It would have been great.
You know, Alex, it's funny you say that because you're the reason I'm here. Star Trek 6. You see, Alex, you took it way too far this time, okay?
Josh also didn't like Star Trek 6.
That doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. We lost subscribers. We lost patrons.
We're actually up in both subscribers and patrons since Star Trek 6.
Josh, shut up. You don't know anything about anything, okay? Do you think you run the show here? I run the show, okay? You know how much money we lost? How much money I lost? And lastly, Alex, just like Star Trek 6 was the end of the TOS era, this is the end of your era on target audience. You know why? 'Cause you're fired!
What?
That's it. You're done. Yeah, it's not April Fool's. Get out.
What? You're okay with this? You're just gonna let this fly?
He owns the channel. I can't do anything
Wait, just
about
do this
it.
by yourself? What? Oh my.
That's right. Go on. Don't say anything. Just go, okay? Just get out of here. Guess you couldn't see the forest through the trees, huh? We don't need him, okay? There are people that would kill to be in the spot that he was in, okay? We'll have somebody, don't you worry, all right? I got big plans. Buffy, Season 2. Battlestar Galactica, Season 2. And the best of all, I'm thinking Red Dwarf.
My God, man!
He's dead.